I call the member for Higgins.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. As I've said in this chamber before, I've seen the physical effects of nicotine addiction up close and personal when I practiced in hospital. It results in accelerated atherosclerosis, which pretty much affects every single blood vessel in the body. So large organs are affected as well as small organs and everything in between. It results in stroke, heart attack, peripheral vascular disease, which then leads to serial amputations. The health effects of nicotine addiction are well recognised, but probably less so are the societal hazards, although they are now becoming more evident in our streets and our suburbs, particularly in Victoria. The damaging effect of illicit tobacco in Australia is complex and requires a coordinated response across multiple jurisdictions, state and federal, as well as multiple departments. The illicit tobacco trade includes the unlicensed production or importation of tobacco plant or leaf and manufacture of tobacco products. These activities are conducted by highly adaptive criminal organisations and can involve violence, including arson and assault, and result in evasion of tax and duties needed for the provision of other government services that are such as healthcare, for example, or education. And this unlicensed access to tobacco products for Australians of all ages results in worsening nicotine addiction. Now, it was Labor government under Gillard, I think, with Health Minister Nicola Roxon, who actually introduced plain packaging, and it was a world first. Labor governments have a proud legacy of tobacco control, and it drove smoking rates down, that one single intervention, which was then picked up by multiple other peer countries around the world. And now we are in a fight for our lives with respect to illicit tobacco. As a government, we are tackling the issue head-on by working across justice, law enforcement and health portfolios, as well as state and territory governments. While Australian Border Force seizes illicit tobacco being imported into Australia, and that equated to over 1.7 billion illicit cigarettes and over 867 tonnes of loose-leaf tobacco, it's mind-boggling, in the last financial year alone, and local raids of illegal suppliers has produced quick wins. The illicit tobacco task force across the Australian Border Force and ATO and Department of Home Affairs, the Australian Transaction Reports and Analysis Centre, also known as AUSTRAC, and the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, as well as the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions, is targeting these criminal syndicates that are having the greatest impact in Australia and tackling activities at all points of the supply chain: offshore, importation, production, domestic manufacture and sale. So when we hear criticism that we're not doing enough, in fact, we're doing a lot, and it is being coordinated across multiple facets, multiple jurisdictions and multiple departments. Such is the complexity. And the syndicates are, again, they are highly adaptive. There's so much money flowing through these syndicates, but we owe it to the Australian people in order to try and smash them. Penalties are significant. For example, the maximal penalty for illicit tobacco offences under the Customs Act is 10 years imprisonment, and it comes with a monetary penalty of 5 times the duty evaded, or both. In January of this year, the Albanese government announced a major border force crackdown on the importation of illegal tobacco. $188.5 million has been committed over the next 4 years to the Australian Border Force to deliver a new compliance model in partnership with states and territories. The Australian Border Force will lead Commonwealth, state and territory partners in a coordinated effort to tackle all aspects of illicit tobacco. And the model has 3 prongs. First, to stem the flow of illicit tobacco into Australia. And this means that the ABF, with its international partners, will work to target and disrupt illicit tobacco in source and transit countries before it even reaches our border. We will boost ABF capacity to combat illicit tobacco trade at the border, and we will bring together stakeholders to deliver a coordinated multi-agency, multi-jurisdictional response across states and territories. As I said, this is only one facet of a broad agenda that we have with respect to tobacco control. We are also targeting vapes, as this is a scourge that is essentially a gateway drug for our youth into nicotine addiction. And in the middle of this year, we'll be introducing legislation to finally see these vapes off our streets of our suburbs, and certainly we would like to ensure that our school children can go to school without being targeted by vape stores.
I call the member for Leichhardt.